What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another Euro 2020 fancy video ahead of the semi-finals, which is Matchday 6 now. There's one more Matchday, Matchday 7, which is obviously the final. There's going to be two teams to pick from. Hopefully it's England, and then Spain or Italy. Who cares, right? It's the final. Anything can happen. But we'll have to wait and see, because Denmark is going to be a tough team, and Denmark are also going to be the basis for a lot of the answers to some of the questions. So what we're doing, Matchday preview. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's my birthday today. I don't have time to do loads of different graphics for each different section. So I'm just going to keep this background up and just talk, right? I know some people don't like that. It is what it is. It's fine. I don't usually do this for like previews and stuff for FPL. But I'm doing it for this one just to save a bit of time. And it's not even so I can go and have loads of fun. It's because I've got other work stuff to do before I can go and do anything else, right? Because there's a busy few days coming up. So I've got some questions. So these basically yesterday I tweeted out, do I even need to do a match day preview? And a load of people had questions. So I've put another tweet out today asking for some more. Most of them revolve around similar things. So differentials, spreading risk or going all in. Again, similar questions we've had for the last 16 in the quarterfinals. When to use limitless and wildcard. Madness that you've still got those chips left, but fair play. Defending chase in the league, Spinazzola replacement. Some questions about England going to a back five as well. So I'm going to get going in just a sec. Do like it if you enjoy it. Hit that subscribe button if you're new around here as well. And obviously, hopefully, we'll have the normal videos coming up and obviously FPL content too for when the Euros is done. So I'm just going to go through them, right? Let's start off with differentials. So what I should have done is brought up the Euro Fantasy page just for myself so I can see it. But I'm thinking about the differentials that you could go for. Obviously, there's only 4 teams left, right? So there's only a certain amount of players to actually pick from. And it does get difficult in this kind of format, which we're going to come on to in a minute when we talk about gaining or catching up a lead in a mini league, is obviously you can make subs as well. So even if you fail at the first hurdle, let's say you go for a differential, I don't know, let's just say it's Olmo for Spain, right? Let's say he starts, you captain him, he gets 10 points. Brilliant, you're a genius. Well, as soon as someone else gets 10 points that day, right, or even if they go for an obvious captain the next day, like Harry Kane gets 10 points as well, then you haven't really gained anything. But obviously, if those people that captain Kane don't have Olmo, then you have gained a little bit, right? So it is hard to do with only 4 teams. So this is kind of where I think the main differentials are coming from. Danish captains and Danish forwards, right? I think at this point, everyone's got Mæhle. You should do anyway. And a lot of people have gone to Damsgaard, although I don't think he'd be a massively popular captain, right? Because most people are going to think that England are favourites for that game. And I think because of Morata, Kane and Immobile, there probably aren't too many people with Danish forwards. Now, in the last game, I believe it was Braithwaite and Dolberg that started. Obviously, Dolberg got the goal, that great pass from Mæhle. Will Poulsen come back in? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a Danish team expert. Maybe he will. He could be benched. I mean, I guess if you're looking for differentials, you're willing to possibly take a bit of a punt. But Dolberg, I think he did. Let me just double check. I think he scored, was it once or twice in the game before? I'm just going to search for it now. And then obviously he scored again. Yeah, so in match day 4 against Wales, played 69 minutes, 2 goals. One of those goals was from outside the box, so he got 11 points. And then he scored again and played 59 minutes. The one thing I'll say is it doesn't necessarily look like he's going to get you an 80 to 90 minutes, but with so much at stake, right? Obviously, if Denmark are behind, they're going to push to get the win. If they're ahead, they might make defensive changes to keep the lead. And 5 substitutes, that's probably going to happen for a lot of players, right? You can pretty much, bearing in mind you're not going to sub the keeper in most scenarios, you can literally change half the team. So the fact that a player won't necessarily get to 90 wouldn't be a huge concern, but it is something to think about. So someone like Dolberg or Braithwaite could be options of differentials, not only just to have in your team, but if you wanted to go for captaincy as well. I guess England's hard because everyone's going to have Kane and Sterling, right? And when I say everyone, right, don't take that literally. When I say everyone, I just mean they're going to be highly owned. So Kane and Sterling, everyone's going to own. Then people are going to have 1 to 3 England defenders, right? Shaw, Maguire, Stones, Pickford, right? Pick players from there, okay? So the only differential really, bearing in mind that Phillips and Rice are kind of more defensive midfielders, they're not likely to get you a return. Calvin Phillips can play a very good forward pass, right? We've seen him set up for Sterling in the first game. He's played some balls over the top, but that's not really his primary role in this team. So someone like Mount, who we know is pretty much guaranteed to start, but isn't likely to get you a huge amount of returns in this team, I don't think. The only differential I can see is trying to pick the England forward that plays on the right is difficult, right? Sancho didn't really do anything wrong. Like, I tweeted to say that he was fun. I got a load of comments back saying he hasn't scored, he hasn't assisted. Like, he looked good. Well, not brilliant, probably, but he looked good. I don't think it's very likely that he keeps his place. I actually think that Saka will come back in. I think a lot depends on whether England go to a back four or back five. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I think Saka's going to come back in either way if he's over his knock. Apparently he had a knock in the last round, which is one of the reasons he didn't play. He might have got rested anyway, right? We've got a lot of talent there. But that is something you could bet on. Maybe someone like Saka. And we're talking differentials, right? Because some people are going to say, well, Saka might not start. He might not get as many returns as Sterling and Kane. Exactly. That's why he's a differential. So I think betting on England's right side, because Sterling's staying on the left. Forget Grealish. He ain't starting on the left, right? Chiesa. I guess a lot of people have got Brady. They might hold on to him. Everyone else, Immobile, Insigne, everyone's got them already, right? And obviously, Italian defenders. Emerson will be a bit of a differential, I think. But someone like Bonucci is a bit safer, right? And then Spanish attackers. We will know the Spanish lineup. So if it's Olmo or whoever it might be, maybe Sarabia is fit. I did see reports that he might be fine for this game. Whether or not he starts, obviously a different story. Could be Moreno up front, etc. They're the kind of players that I would look at for differentials. Obviously you've got defenders as well, but I think it's difficult to find a proper differential defender that's not already owned. The only one that I can maybe think of off the top of my head would be Denmark. And was it? I mean, Yeah, Striger Larsen, right, yeah. I was going to say that I'm sure that wasn't the name that was put up on the screen when I was watching the game, but I heard the commentator. Striger Larsen, obviously playing on the right side with Mailer playing on the left. So he got Matchday 4 against Denmark, got a clean sheet, but he got an assist against Czech Republic and played 70 minutes, right? He did concede a goal, but he could be an option if you want to double up on Denmark defence. I think that is the big differential, is going for all in on Denmark and just hoping they beat England, and that's not what many people will do. So other than that, I don't think there's many differential defenders. Di Lorenzo, possibly for Italy if he keeps his place as well. I'll just cover this quickly because I don't think a huge amount of people are worried about it. But will England go to a back five? Now, this is very difficult to call because we haven't really seen any murmurings yet. It's only Monday, so we might... unfortunately, the journalists keep leaking what the England team is or what changes they're making. So by the deadline tomorrow on Tuesday, you might get this info. They played a back five against Germany to completely match them up. Now, part of the reason for that is, obviously you can play different formations, right? You can play a 4-3-3 against a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3, right? A back three. You can do that. Plenty of teams do that. They don't change formation. I think with England, they're used to playing a back five. I think that's been trained as well as the 4-3-3/4-2-3-1. But also, Germany just devastated Portugal. Gosens just ran right in that game. And I think Southgate was aware of that or wanted to match them up. I don't know if he'll be as worried about Denmark. And that's not to put them down at all. Mailer running at Walker, etc. There's going to cause problems, I think. But I don't think it's guaranteed that we go to a back five. So anyone looking at Trippier, he is a risk. Because if we stay back four, it will be Shaw, Stones, Maguire and Walker again, barring any injury. There's just no way at this stage, I don't think so anyway, no way that someone like Chilwell comes in for Shaw. Shaw has been playing too well. Southgate even mentioned that he's improving every time he plays. Shaw and Maguire, obvious. And look, Walker made a couple of mistakes, but I think Southgate trusts him and his pace is there. So a back five is possible because Denmark do play with a back five, but I think Ukraine lined up in a back five until they got an injury. I can't remember who got injured, so apologies. But they made a change and they changed to a back four. But Southgate went in with a 4 against the back 5, basically. So maybe that was a bit of... I don't want to say practice because you don't go into a quarterfinal practicing a team. They're obviously used to that formation, but we might see that against Denmark. So the question, will England go to back 5? I'm not convinced. But I do think Saka will come in, especially if we play back 4 because I think he's better defensively than maybe Sancho is. When to use Limitless and Wildcard? I think... Obviously, it's going to depend on your team, but I think, I don't know, let me know in the comments below if you disagree. Wildcard, I think, has to be this week, right? Because you're going to get another 5 transfers in the final. There's no point in making your transfers and using the wildcard in the final, unless your team is almost perfect, right? Maybe. I think the same with Limitless. You got to make your transfers now and then Limitless in the final. Because if you Limitless now, you lose all those transfers, and then your final team... you've got to basically make your final team from the quarter-final lineup then, right? So you've got your quarter-final lineup, you use your limitless, then when you get back to the final, you're back to this team, which had like maybe players spread over 8 teams, and now we're down to 2. So I think you've just got to make your transfers this week and use the limitless in the final and just go all in on, I don't know, maybe some players that you think will start that not everyone else is going to go for. Because obviously the rest of us without chits will be stuck with our players, apart from the 5 transfers we get, right? And I think for wildcard, I would use it now while there's still more teams in it. Because you're going to get five transfers next week anyway, right, on next match day for the finals. So you'll be able to get 11 no matter what. So I think I would use wildcard this week and limitless next week. Obviously, it depends on your team, but I think that's roughly where I would go. Defending, chasing a league. I mean, this one is difficult for the reasons I said just a minute ago. You can get a differential captaincy and someone else can fail on the first day, but on the second day they pull it back. So it's very difficult to do. Obviously, it depends on the how far behind you are, but you're probably going to have to go for some of these punts I've talked about under the differential section at the start, and maybe go for those that are worries for starts or worries for minutes and just hope. It depends what kind of player you are, because some people, they talk about going differentials, then they do it doesn't work out and they hate it. So it depends how far behind you are. If it's only like 10 to 15 points, I think that can be made up with just playing normally. If it's any more than that, it's going to get difficult because of the lack of different players. So maybe you are looking for a Saka, maybe you are a Trippier and hope that England play a back 5, even though I don't think it's likely. Captain Dolberg against England rather than going for Kane and Sterling, etc. I think these are the kind of moves you have to do. If you're defending the league, I think you just play normally. Blocking, there's not too many. I mean, you're going to have most of you've got a squad of 15 to play with, right? Because you can make subs. You're going to have most of the normal players anyway. Again, maybe for someone that's played the Champions League format, because I haven't, let me know in the comments below if you've got any other kind of points and stuff. If anyone's got some decent points to make about what I'm talking about, strategy for leads and wildcards and limitless, I'll go through and I'll heart some of them if it's good feedback and stuff, because I don't usually play these formats, but I'm just thinking off the top of my head, right? I think because you can make subs and captaincy changes, it's a lot harder to chase in this. So you probably got to go mega differential. Whereas in FPL, you wouldn't necessarily go for that, depending on how far behind you are and how many weeks are left, right? But in the final, it's literally going to be 2 teams. You're going to have to pick 11 players. You're going to have pretty much half the players that are on the pitch, right? So it's going to be very hard to be different. This is the week to go for it, I think, if you haven't already. Spinazzola replacement. It's all the obvious play. Like if you're going for Italy, I did say Emerson. I think someone tweeted me or put a YouTube comment saying that they thought Toloi might play there, that Emerson wasn't guaranteed. But the fact that Emerson came on and played there, I think he probably will start there. But again, I'm not an Italian expert. If you want to go safe, just go for Bonucci, because even Di Lorenzo maybe could come out for Florenzi if he happened to be fit. So Bonucci, if you want to stick with Italy. Otherwise, you've got Shaw. Looks brilliant. I don't think he's going to lose his place. Now, I was like 95% sure last match day that he was nailed. Now I'm like 100% sure. Get it? 100% Luke Shaw. Yeah, got it. So someone like that for England. I think Denmark I've already talked about. Striger Larsen and Mela, obviously. And then the other team is Spain. Someone like Alba, possibly. You're gonna know the Spanish lineup. So going for someone like Alba, who's very attacking, could be decent. I don't think there's too many other players I would go for. So Alba, Bonucci, if you want to play safe. Otherwise, Emerson, Luke Shaw, and then Mela, Striger Larsen. I think that's probably the replacements. All right, that's a good nearly 14 minutes. So I'm going to leave it there. They were the main questions, right? Differentials, limitless, wildcard, spreading risk. That was the way to go. Did I speak about spreading risk? I don't think I did. Let me talk about that, right? Again, this depends how you want to play. I'm going all in England, right? I don't care. I think England are going to win. I hope they're going to win. I hope they get to the final, and I hope they do a good job there. That's just the way I want to play. If you just want to spread risk, then you go for 3 from each team, right? That'll give you 12, and then you pick 1 extra maybe from the favourites, England, Spain, Italy, Spain, and England, right? Or if you want to go different, you go for an extra player from Denmark and ditch one from the other ones. That means going into the final, you would have at least 6 players, right? Let's say you go for 3 from Denmark, they go through 3 from Spain. You have at least 6 players. You got 5 transfers to get another bunch. And you can't make subs, obviously. So that's spreading the risk. You go for 3 from every team to give you 12, and then you go for 1 more from other ones. Again, England, Italy, Spain is probably where you would go. And you get the favourite players. So England, it's Kane, Sterling, Shaw. right? Italy would probably be Immobile, Insigne, Bonucci. Obviously, you've got to pick goalkeepers as well. Maybe you add an Italian goalkeeper and Pickford, because obviously you want to pick goalkeepers from different days. Spain is a little bit harder. I would say Morata plus whichever wide forward starts, plus Alba if he starts. Otherwise, I guess just get a different defender. And then Denmark is probably... at this point, we've already got Immobile, Morata, and Kane, so you can't have. This is the problem with Denmark, right? So you probably go for Mæhle, Sugar Larsen, and Damsgaard. I would say probably the ones to go for. And then captaincy, obviously, is going to depend. I've already talked enough about differentials and key players. For me, I think a lot of people will go Italy captain for the first game. So Spain is probably the bigger differential. I don't think there's much in it, but it probably is. And then again, Denmark is definitely the bigger differential for the England-Denmark game. So yeah, spreading risk, 3 from each team, and then plus 1 more. So basically, 4 from 3 teams and then 3 from another. And that's going to give you, let's say you go for 4 Italy, 4 Spain, 4 England, 3 Denmark. Then that's going to give you at least 7 players in the final, and you've got 5 transfers to get another 4. You could even make a luxury transfer. So spreading risk at this one, I mean, it depends. If you're ahead, then that's how you play it, I guess. If you're behind, don't worry. Like, it's going to be over soon. No one knows about their rank. Your rank doesn't get saved or anything in this format. So just go for it. Go all in. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Do give it a like if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button. Apologies, it was just me talking. Hopefully that was okay. I think this week is going to be a bit all over the place in terms of videos, which you'll find out why soon. But from next week, when the Euros is done, we'll be flat out FPL. There'll be pretty much a video every single day. I'm prepared for it. I just think there's not as much interest at the moment because of the Euros. I know there is still a lot of interest. Like the FPL videos I put up are still hitting 50, 60,000 views plus. And obviously that will continue to rise as FPL gets closer. But I just think for the Euros, and you'll find out this week why I can't do the normal stuff. But yeah, from next week there'll be plenty of FPL. So give it a like, hit that subscribe button. Good luck for the semi-finals. There won't be a deadline stream, I'm afraid. Right? I know it's the second one I've missed now in 3 weeks, but for FPL they'll definitely be back, and hopefully maybe I can do one for the final. No, I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm not. In fact, let me just say this. There'll be no more deadline streams, in fact. And now I'm thinking on the fly, because there won't be one for the semi-final. There will not be one for the final, right? There's only a certain amount of questions for the final anyway, because there's 2 teams. And there ain't no way I'm doing a deadline stream when England are about, or hopefully England are about to play. I should say. If England don't go through, maybe I'll do a deadline stream, right? So yeah, I'm not going to go back and edit that, right? I kind of a slip of the tongue saying that England were through, because obviously they're not. Denmark is going to be hard. I'm just hoping. I'm hoping that I won't be able to do a deadline stream for the final. Anyway, I'm rambling now. It's now 17 minutes, 18 minutes. I'm going to leave it there. Give it a like, hit subscribe. See you soon. Good luck in the final. Semi-final.